Hey fellas, Caleb here. Last weekend was the Texas Masters Grand Tournament here in Dallas. So I'm going to run through a little bit of what happened on the doubles shootout side. We'll have to let somebody else cover what happened over on the singles. What the Texas Masters is all year long, all of 2019. We had different tournaments all over Texas, greatest state in the U.S. of A. And the top 20 people ended up going to the Texas Masters. They played in the singles tournament, had an awesome time over there. For all of those of us who didn't quite make it into the top 20, we played in the doubles tournament. So we had a team tournament. You brought a list of 1,000 points each, and we had a blast. So I'm gonna kind of run down what we took, me and my buddy Chris, what we took and how we did. So you can see here we got our army set up here on our display board, our beautiful little floating islands display board that I use for Seraphon, and Chris was the one that actually made that for me, so it's pretty awesome. You can see what we took here in the middle, and we have a zoomed in picture over here. That's right, 2 Gotreks. Yes. One Gotrek in a 2,000 point game is incredibly hard to deal with. The guy will not die. He will kill everything he gets in combat with. He is amazing. Gotrek, glorious Gotrek. So in doubles, you can actually fit him into a 1,000 point list because his 520 point cost ignores the ally restriction. So kind of a, some might say, an underhanded way to get around that ally restriction, but hey, we only play with what GW gives us. So we have 2 Gotreks in our team list here. We did have to, in this tournament, you do have to bring two different lists that you can play with, and then right before the game, you're going to pick the one that you want to play with. So here were our 2 lists. You can see the ones Chris was playing with over on the left, Idoneth, and I was playing Seraphon, so you can see those over on the right. These 2 armies are actually the best armies, I think, to play Gotrek in. Because in Idoneth, if you're playing Gotrek, he gets the faction benefits from Ionrach. So he gets to run and charge in turn 2. He gets to fight at the start in turn 3, and then the tides start back over, and he gets those buffs from Idoneth. On the Seraphon side, he's pretty good in Seraphon too, because you can use the Slann to summon in extra bodies. You know, he's taking up over half your list in 1,000 points. But in Seraphon, you can make that up by summoning in extra bodies. You can also, Seraphon has 2 spells you can actually use on him. You can make him fly, which is kind of cool, because 2 of the Seraphon spells actually are just keyworded to friendly units, so you can actually use them on Gotrek too. The other one, which I really like, is Apotheos something or other. I don't remember the name of it. Anyway, you can heal him 1 wound, which if you've ever fought Gotrek, you know 1 wound, getting 1 wound through him is an accomplishment. And so if you can heal up wounds in a Seraphon list, that's pretty big. So we went into this pretty much knowing we're going to run Gotrek the entire time. It may not be the most sound strategy because we can pick between these 2 lists. So when we get to the table, he can either pick his Gotrek list or he can pick his eel spam list, which gets 12 eels on the board. It's not a bad list. It's tough in 1,000 points to deal with 12 eels. And he also had some tree revenants just for some deep strike stuff. But we had kind of been talking it over, and we're like, you know what? Regardless of what the objectives are given to us, like what battle plan, let's go double Gotrek the entire game, see how it goes. So he was running here. He's got this Tidecaster who has a few spells that they can cast, but really we're going to try to use that Tidecaster to get those chronomatic cogs out, just to give our Gotreks a little bit extra speed. Our plan was to put the cogs kind of right in the middle of the Slann and the Tidecaster. So if we want to on turn 1, we can get in some extra Skinks and then flip those over turn 2 to give our Gotrek some extra run or some extra movement. But then that turn 2, if his Gotrek is running and charging, which he can do under Ionrach, and he gets +2 to both of those from the cogs, that all of a sudden makes his Gotrek pretty quick. My list, I've got Gotrek, I've got the Slann. I took Great Remember for 2 teleports, Ragged Cloak to keep him from getting shot, and then a spell to try to break some artifacts. I think I cast it a couple times. Never did break an artifact in this one, but it's kind of a good one to take. And especially if somebody's running like Ethereal Amulet or something, you really want to break that one. That's fun to do. And then 3 units of Skinks here, and really I just took a spell in case we faced a magic heavy list. Maybe throw that out there, but it's 10 points. I had 10 points left over. He's got his thralls. My alternate list was actually, I kind of like it. It's just 70 Skinks. And then 2 units of Razordons. So the plan is just to teleport in turn 1 those Razordons into something and then fill up the board with Skinks. But as I said, we're not using our alternate lists. We're going double Gotrek this entire time. So those were our lists we were taking. Our plan was to run double Gotreks. Yeah. So let's talk about kill points. So over the entire course of the game, we tried to keep track of how much our Gotreks would kill. And so I kind of look at that, kind of go across how our list did, and then we'll go into each game. So our kill points here. Here's our kill points. So you can see it's a pretty lengthy list. You can see my Gotrek, his kill points there at the top, and then Chris's Gotrek with Idoneth down there at the bottom. And so we had a pretty healthy kill list here, as you can see. And it's broken down by game. Game 1, we both killed a bunch of Dryads, and that was pretty much all we got into. You can see on that one, our Game 3 really was pretty light. In fact, he didn't even get into anything Game 3, and that one you'll see in a minute. The game didn't go so well. But we had a lot of kill points. We averaged out, if you look at these stats here, we actually averaged less than what Gotrek's cost. And so he cost 520 points. And on average, each Gotrek would kill a little bit less than what he was worth. But I think that was because so many people were just avoiding Gotrek. A lot of times if we would park him on one objective, you would just avoid him until there was no option not to. And I think that's the proper strategy to deal with him, is you try to avoid him. He's slow, so you don't want to get into him. You want to try to capture the other objectives. But in the battle plans where you can't avoid him, you got to go after him. You saw us kind of get an uptick in those kill points, especially this game 4 right here. You can see this is all in game 4. They had to just crush the middle objective, because I think in this one there were only 3. We'll get to it here in a little bit. And they just had to crush that middle objective. And he sent a whole bunch of OCR Bone Reapers right to the middle. And sure enough, Chris's Gotrek just deleted a lot in that game. And so he pretty much took out the entire Bone Reapers army with one Gotrek in maybe 2 turns, I think. So 4 activations. So he did work there. Real good work. So there's our kill points overall. We were averaging about 1,000 points per game with him. Not quite making back his points, but a lot of that was because people were just avoiding him. Overall, he killed a lot. Game 3 was definitely the low point for him. That was the one game that we ended up losing, and just things went terribly wrong in that one. We'll talk about that one here in a little bit. But overall, very happy with how he performed. I mean, you pretty much threw him into anything, and he'll kill him, and usually survive whatever it is you're throwing him at. So, pretty awesome. We really enjoyed playing double Gotreks. It was definitely an easy way to play a grand tournament, because you don't have to think. You just run Gotrek at stuff. So here's our final placings. We ended up coming in second in the teams, which was pretty awesome. I was very happy with that. We won 4 of our 5 games, and the one we lost was to that top team, number 1, Gavin and Zach Kennedy. You can't see Zach's full name there. At the moment, I've played Zach twice in tournaments, grand tournaments. I've lost to him both times with Fyreslayers, and it hadn't been pretty. So I gotta figure out how to beat Fyreslayers. Just those Hearthguard Berserkers right now are ridiculous. So that one you'll see when we talk about it here in a little bit. Threw Gotrek into some Hearthguard Berserkers and failed a ton of saves. And Gotrek went down. We failed 2 charges with another Gotrek. And by that point, it was just game over. So they had gone up too many points on us. We weren't going to be able to come back. So we had to concede that one. But overall, hey, I am extremely happy with going second. Especially when, we pointed those 2 Gotreks and said we're not taking any of our alternate lists, no matter what battle plan, no matter what anybody else is showing us. We're playing 2 Gotreks. So we had some really good games. A lot of fun. Definitely playing with 2 Gotreks. We had people that were coming up to the table saying, I was hoping I wasn't going to face the 2 Gotreks. And so it was kind of the boogeyman list of the tournament, but it was fun. It was fun to see what all Gotrek could do. So, all right, we'll get into the games here. We'll go through the 5 different games. We'll try to timestamp that all below in the comments. Make sure you look up Texas Masters, their website, especially if you're in Texas. Get involved in it, man. It's pretty awesome. It's all run by Matt Taylor, who does an awesome job with this stuff. Incredible tournament. It was over at Great Wolf Lodge, so the kids got to play in the water park, and the family got to stay at the hotel while we were all battling. So it was great stuff. Good tournament. Oh, you see our little trophies there. We got our team second place trophies to put up on the shelf. Oh yeah. See, we got them over here. And so ton of fun, awesome tournament. If you're in Texas, make sure you look up Texas Masters and get involved. All right, on to the games. All right, game 1 of the day started off, and we had seen these lists beforehand, so we kind of knew what we might be playing against. But it started off against C-Mac and Cliff. A couple of good guys. They were both playing Sylvaneth, and so you can see their lists here on the left. They actually, one of them had Gotrek, and so we were wondering what was going to happen if 3 Gotreks met in the middle. And so we had been kind of talking this through. We had known the list for maybe a week or 2 before the game, but we didn't know what we were playing on. So we rolled focal points, and so there's going to be 5 objectives. So we know if there's going to be 3 Gotreks on the table, it's going to be a nasty fight over the one in the middle. And so I was actually kind of afraid they were going to take 2 Alarials, because if you see here on their list, so their first list here, his list A, it includes a Branch Wraith, 30 Dryads, Tree Lord Ancient. So this one right here, this is your summoning list. This is the list that he's going to be trying to bring up a bunch of stuff. You actually had 60 Dryads right here. So that's his summoning list for the first one. The second one included Alarial, some Branch Wraiths, and then some Tree Revenants. Honestly, I was kind of most worried about him taking Alarial because of that movement. The best way to beat Gotrek is just to outmaneuver him. Just stay away from him, kill everything else, and don't get involved. Cliff's list, he had Alarial also, and then some Tree Rev. So it was basically a mirror of C-Mac's second list. Cliff's second list is one that had Gotrek here, and then a Branch Wraith and some Tree Revenants. So they ended up choosing, I guess once they saw the objectives, they saw we had 2 Gotreks, maybe they just wanted to have a Gotrek fight. I don't know. So they chose this C-Mac's no, not that one. C-Mac's A list, which is the summoning list, and 60 Dryads, and Cliff's B list, which had Gotrek and 20 Revenants there. And they outdropped us, so they were able to choose when they wanted to go. We obviously chose our 2 Gotrek lists. I won't have to explain that. We're going to do that every time. And so they're going to flood the board with trees. They had a little bit of trouble getting the trees out first just because of the way the board is set up. We'll show that in a second. But we know we're going to have to deal with a whole lot of Dryads in this game. So here's how our deployment was right when we set up. They did outdrop us, so they took turn 1. But you can see they have one set of trees here, and the other guy's set of trees over there. And our middle objective is here. We got objective here, 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 and here. So they're kind of swarming them with Dryads. They're really just kind of zoning this one out with the tree revenants. And so they're going to keep us from just teleporting anything in. They did a pretty good job zoning out. I didn't really have any good place to teleport with Skinks, but we kind of zoned out the same way here just to make sure they couldn't get any those tree revenants teleporting in. My Gotrek is right here in the middle. Our plan is just for me to start summoning trash over here, just lots of Skinks, and then my Gotrek is going up the middle, and then his Gotrek over here on the surfboard. Yeah, Gotrek on a surfboard, of course. He's kind of like this whole tournament. We're going to kind of use him as the counter punch, like because that second turn he can run and charge. So we usually don't run him straight ahead yet. We wait and kind of see where he needs to go. So this one he's going to hold this objective, just make sure they don't do any shenanigans, and kind of see where their Gotrek answers. His Gotrek is right here, and so I assume he's going in here. If I get his Gotrek in a fight here, then our plan is just to send Chris's Gotrek towards their back objective. I'll do a pillow fight with his Gotrek in the middle, and Chris will send the other Gotrek up the side. How many times am I going to say Gotrek in this video? I don't want to know. So they take first turn. Let's see what the next picture is. Oh, they summon in. Here's this middle objective that's right there in the middle of that the board. They summon in a big unit of trees, and 30 of the Dryads that were sitting off the board from one of their lists, I think, popped in there. And so they've got 30 Dryads on this one, 30 Dryads back here, and then kind of mixed forces everywhere. Their Tree Lord, he's coming up to do some spells. Their Branch Wraith was over here doing something. Maybe they helped summon some stuff. I'm not 100% sure. But they're capturing this big objective here in the middle. And that was pretty much all they did their first turn. The Gotrek started coming up this way, but for some reason they didn't run him. I think maybe they wanted to kind of see what our Gotreks did until they fully committed their Gotrek. So at the end of their first turn, they score 3 points. The 1 in the middle, and then the 2 in the back. So there's kind of an overview of their first turn. That's done. So on our turn, because they're so close, I'm pretty sure I can get my Gotrek in here, so I don't run him. He moves 4. That's not a big deal. I think we got cogs out, so that was going to make sure that we for sure got him in on the charge. And my goal is just to clear these guys here and then set up some screens. Maybe we can keep Gotrek off of us, but make sure that we hold our own objective back here. So Gotrek gets into those not the tree revenants, the Dryads. There's 30 of them there in cover in the trees. It gives them some kind of bonus. I'm not real sure what. It didn't seem to do a whole lot against Gotrek. And, whoa, blurry picture. But you can see here I summoned in some more Skinks, and these Skinks up here, I think they were the ones that were right here, ran up just to make sure I got enough bodies on this objective if for some reason I failed on all the Dryads or something, and summoned in some more Skinks here. You can see our cogs here, and Surfboard Gotrek for Idoneth is heading up the middle there. Either, if they get the next turn, either it's going to pull his Gotrek that way or this way. He's going to have to attack one of them, I think. So it's going to pull him that way. I think that was the plan. After the combat, they had 1 Dryad left. Unfortunately, he survived both attacks from Gotrek, but Gotrek did wipe out all of them. Didn't take any wounds. Gotrek is so... sometimes it just feels busted. He didn't take any wounds, but they did Battle Shock, give him Battle Shock immunity just so they'd hold up Gotrek. I think by the branch wraith back there. And so, in our turn, I have us marked down that we got 4. I don't know how in the world we got 4. But we scored. Yeah, I think that may be wrong. I have us down for 4 for some reason. But we got that one in the middle. And these 2 over here. So we scored. I think maybe he should have had 4 points too. I think I just wrote it down wrong. Because I think that middle one's worth 2. And the other ones on the outside are worth 1 each. It won't matter in the end. So we were able to clear that. They got the turn. So they went into their turn. And they brought their Gotrek over towards our Surfboard Gotrek. Look at that model. That thing's awesome. Idoneth Gotrek on a surfboard. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's a narrative. It's narrative. So he's bringing some Dryads here, I think, just to try to screen Gotrek. At least that's what I would have done. But he decides to send them into Gotrek. I don't know what the point of that was, because they're going to die. But they did. And his Gotrek here was going to, I think, was just going to go tie up this Gotrek. Try to put some wounds on him, maybe. Or at least tie him up. But he got a huge charge. And so you can see he kind of went back into these thralls, these ones that right here are dead. They were in a screen formation there. So he just took out the thrall. So he made a really big charge and went down here, took these other Dryads right here. I don't know that was I guess it was a good, I don't know. I think I would have rather tied up the Gotrek there. Kept your back objective safe. Start teleporting some tree revs around, because I think those tree revs can put some hurt on these guys. But they pretty much kept those tree revs back there, zoning out that their objective back here. Oh, now I remember why they didn't get all 4 points. They, on their turn, they walked away from their top objective here. That's why we had it written down that way. So in this turn, they had to send some Dryads back to get it, because they forgot to get it on their first turn. So, oops. So they cleared these thralls. Obviously, our Gotrek finished off those Dryads and these Dryads. But first, before I attacked with my Gotrek, I Weary Fightered these Skinks. Just because I measured it on my next turn, if I got a decent run, I could capture his back objective without even fighting. Just from the movement, just the way he had put these guys on his objective. So, yeah, getting tricky. I mean, the only way really for Seraphon to ever score objectives is being sneaky, and so you got to embrace it. So that was the end of their turn. They captured their own back here, captured this one here, and scored 2 points. We can pop up the scores here. So that was the end of their objective, or their turn. There's my score sheet. So in our turn, basically you see all of a sudden, okay, look at the difference in this picture here. Notice anything gone? Yeah, this big unit of Dryads here. So in this, in our turn, I leave my Gotrek here just because I've got to have something there to capture the objective. But I kind of move him into the woods. I may have to roll for a mortal, but he'll shrug it off just to make sure he doesn't do any kind of funny business here, teleporting in guys. I send some screens this way, and Chris's Gotrek goes up there and just blows up those Dryads. All 30 of them are gone. And he made a big enough charge, he's within 6 of that objective and scores that one. I did make my run over here with these Skinks and was able to score his objective, which was like right here. And so we were able to score all objectives and score 8 points. And at that point, they conceded. I think we rolled off. It was going to be their turn, but it didn't really matter. Just based on we've wiped out 60 Dryads, and their Gotrek, he's not going to get to anything important. You know, his turn, he'll get to this unit of Skinks and kill some Skinks, but he still won't score this objective. He could teleport some tree revs probably over here and capture this one. Maybe take off some Skinks, capture this one. But at that point, they're too far behind the 8-ball. They'd score at most 2 points that turn, and then we had just taken back. So it was a good game. I'm not sure what they could have done much different. I think letting this Gotrek past a screen was probably their biggest mistake. They should have not charged in those Dryads and just left them there as a screen. You've got to throw up screens in front of Gotrek. You can slow them down. Feed them junk that you don't care about, and don't let them get to your objective. So I probably would have taken this one over here and tied up that Gotrek and gotten some bodies in these trees maybe somehow, and then capture your own objective. That's usually the biggest mistake right there, when you don't capture your own objectives if you take first turn. But it was a great game. A couple of really good guys, and man, their stuff is beautifully painted. I kind of wanted to see their Alarials on table. Those things were amazing looking. They had some really, really nicely painted models. So, great game. Had a lot of fun. Gotreks did well. Unfortunately, we never got the Gotrek versus Gotrek fight that I was kind of hoping for. I mean, they wouldn't have done any damage to each other, I don't think. But it would have been an epic clash in the middle of the table. So, great game. Major win for us. And on to game 2. All right, game 2. We're playing Places of Arcane Power. This is the double Gotrek dream battle type right here. Because all we're going to do is send 2 guys, or 2 Gotreks, onto an objective each and win the game. I mean, this one was rough. And they kind of knew it from the beginning that it was a done deal. But we still had a fun game. Rough roll for these guys. This was not the one you wanted to see double Gotrek on. You see their list over here. We had Osiarch Bone Reapers. This was the first time I was going to face them. And then Ogre Maw Tribes. First time I'm going to face the new Maw Tribes. I used to play Beastclaw Raider. Bone Reapers, they had 2 Bone Shapers, 40 Mortek Guard, and 2 Harbingers. And Maelstrom, which I saw quite a few people with Maelstroms. I think it was just like, I've got extra 10 points. Put it in there. Never saw it actually on the table. And, we're playing Jody and Jeremiah are the 2 guys we're playing. Real nice. Had a lot of fun. Ogre Maw Tribe's list. This is what he's playing. Frostlord on Stonehorn, Ethereal Amulet, which this guy right here I was a little afraid of, just because with that Ethereal Amulet, he's going to be really hard to kill, especially with Gotrek. Gotrek has damage, but we have those mortal wounds, so we're just going to fish for the mortal wounds basically if we get in combat with him. He does have a 5-up after save to mortals, but given a couple turns, maybe we can chew through him. But he's got also, look at that, 15 Gluttons. Some big old boys on the table. And those guys have a lot of attacks, so, one of the Gotreks is going to get mixed up a little bit. We'll see. So we had some good lists here. It was going to be fun, but we knew as long as we got the first turn, it was already over from the beginning. You hate it when games like that happen, especially ones where like a hero or something can capture an objective, and if you just don't have any good heroes, then what's your option? I mean, look at this army. It's like, what hero is going to capture an objective for him? Just that Frostlord. He's the only one that you're going to want on an objective. These Bone Shapers, they're not going to be able to hold an objective. So, yeah, but it was still fun. So let's clear those lists here. Get to the pictures. All right, so here's our setup here, and you see the objectives here and here and here. They got the Bone Reaper Temple thing, obelisk, there in the middle. You got all the Ogres here with the Frostlord, and then the Bone Reapers right here. You can see my Gotrek in the middle, and Chris's Gotrek over on the left. basically nobody cares about this objective. So I'm going to be sending my Gotrek up the middle, and Chris is going to get his Gotrek to that one, and let the fight begin. We did outdrop them, so we're going to go ahead and take turn 1, just so we can go ahead and get our Gotreks onto the objective. You know, we're going to force them to run, roll a 6, or command point it to a 6, and they'll be within 3 inches of it and score the objective. So this one is not going to be difficult. So in our first turn, oh, here's some pictures. It's kind of hard to tell here in this picture, but man, his army looked awesome. Those Bone Reaper guys, they looked real pretty. They had like these green gems on all their shields and stuff that like they just shimmered. They looked nice. And then all the Bone Reaper dudes had like kind of like blood splatters on their face. It was pretty awesome. I don't know why for some reason my camera made them turn real yellowish. They don't look that yellow in real life. It was real pretty. And the ogres were all red, like they were angry. So it was pretty cool. Nice looking armies. So our first turn, I teleport some Skinks here just to create a screen. I actually teleported them 9 inches away, and then in my charge phase, I actually made that charge, and then just weary fightered them back 3 inches. So now you've got basically your front line can't move. You can charge, but that's about it. Brought in my Gotrek here with some Skinks on this side, and for some reason I teleported some Skinks over here. I don't know. I was thinking I could score that because I obviously didn't read the instructions on this battle plan, and we realized that when we were counting up, we're like, why did I teleport over there? I can't score that without a hero. There's no point in that. So I sent some Skinks over there for some reason. His Gotrek went this way, and he ran his Thralls up this way in an interesting formation. I don't know what this formation is called, but you can see it's just kind of creating screens. We got Cogs out, which got me some more summons. Brought in an extra unit of Skinks, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, 5, yeah. So I brought in two units of Skinks. And that was basically turn 1. We scored 2 points turn 1. Oh, yeah, there we go, 2 points. There's a view of the obelisk, and our Gotrek a little blurry. Some of these pictures will get a little blurry. In their turn, they're bringing in the ogres. Going to hit these thralls. They're going to try to get these ogres in past that ship to the objective, and these ogres come in middle. I think his plan was to wrap them around this way, and Stonehorn is just kind of being a little shy over there, and he cleared off the Skinks. I guess in his turn. And these guys are coming in here. This might be after, because it looks like my Skinks have weary fightered. So he must have cleared these. Maybe he just did, maybe he ran these guys. Maybe he didn't even make the charge. I can't remember. And I think I had Skinks here, and they just weary fightered away from these Harbingers. That must have been what happened, because I see I'm missing one unit of Skinks here. So that must have been after their first turn. Didn't score any. There's the Harbingers coming after Gotrek. Yep. Oh man, this picture's so blurry. This was a great picture though, until it blurred. But yeah, Gotrek here in the middle. So they did get the double turn. They got the double turn here, and you see our Gotrek here in the middle. They got these ogres all the way around them, all 6 of them on that guy, and went into Gotrek. And I think they may have done some damage to him. He's sending these Harbingers into those Skinks. There you go. You can see the surfboard Gotrek getting into those ogres. These thralls are getting in here into these ogres. These guys are trying to make a run around this side, and Stonehorn is still a little weary. You got Mortek coming here, Mortek coming here, trying to pincer in on that Gotrek. They do make some charges, and unfortunately, they are only in range of the Skinks when they're there. So I let everybody activate before my Gotrek. I'm going to activate my Gotrek absolutely last, just to make sure that I can pile him in and get some attacks off. You can see, oh no, yeah. So here was 20 Mortek guard and 2 Harbingers before my Gotrek gets to activate. Do you notice? after he activates. How many are there? None. Yeah, that was a pretty brutal turn. The Mortek Guard are tough, you know? Like, and this is in Petrifex, I think, and so they have a 2-up save, but just so many mortals coming through. He's got good rend. So one activation, he takes out the Harbingers, the other one, he takes out the Mortek Guard. So, Gotrek's pretty good. Over here, Chris did lose some thralls to these ogres, but in that last activation, you know, he had 2 activations with that Gotrek. He took out those 6 ogres. He did take a few wounds from the ogres. They have a lot of attacks. You know, it's like 4 or 6 attacks, something each. And so, I mean, that's how you deal with Gotrek, is you just put a whole bunch of attacks on them. So in our turn, I think it's just a matter of kind of getting some more summons out. We're sending these guys over here. I think I just teleported them to try to put some wounds on those Bone Shapers. And you see his dead pile of ogres over here. And then our Gotrek, I don't think he's going to try to go into those ogres just because he's got to stay within 3 of that objective. I can't remember. End of our turn. Here, we can pop up some scores now. End of our turn there. We did get 4 points because we've held them each for 2 turns. In our turn, since we do get to fight, the Idoneth gets to fight first. He puts the thralls into those ogres. They get a couple bonuses against those ogres since they have so many wounds. And he may have taken out 2 maybe or something like that. But then Gotrek was able to take out the rest of them. And this may be in their turn. They did get the next turn. So they got the top of 3. And he's bringing in the Stonehorn, I believe. Although he may not have made it all the way in. I can't remember. You got some ogres coming this way. These Mortek Guard are slowly making their way down here. And then he's charging his bone masons or bone shapers or something into these Skinks because he wants to get over to this objective just to score some points. My Skinks are stopping him. They keep shooting him. And that's kind of a pillow fight over there, to be honest. The Skinks aren't going to do anything. The Bone Shapers have like 1 attack or something, so it's not much. Then their turn, they don't have any. I teleport my Slann. This is bottom of 3. I teleport my Slann over to that left objective, to this objective over here, just because we knew we were going to win it. We were far enough ahead. It was okay to take Gotrek off. We wanted to go try to get in a fight with that Stonehorn. So we weren't going to score this objective this turn, but we'll get it with the Slann the next turn. And on this summons, I summoned in some Razordons because we're just going to pour everything we can into that Stonehorn because he's on Ethereal. I tried to break it, I think. I tried to break it on this one and didn't get to break it, so we tried. So Gotrek goes into the Stonehorn, and Gotrek only had 4 wounds left, so he might have been able to do some damage, or maybe this is after the attack. Yeah, they activated against each other, and Gotrek went into him twice and couldn't kill him. And so that Ethereal Amulet is pretty nice on a Stonehorn. His attacks are really reduced against Gotrek since Gotrek reduced everything to 1. So it's kind of hard to take him out, but he was able to tank Gotrek 2 activations. And then we get the double turn into 4. I summon in some more Skinks back over here. And we're just putting a bunch of shots onto him. We're gonna help out, buddy. We'll get it. As he's still going into the Stonehorn. But this is turn 3, so Gotrek is gonna get to fight first. So I think when he first activated, he was able to kill there he goes. He kills the Stonehorn. It was a good fight. The Stonehorn was able to tank him for a couple of activations. I think he may have even made it through the first one. And it looks like he put another wound on Gotrek. So he may have made it through the first activation. It may have taken 2. And so we were able to score 5 points that turn. And this may be where we ended it. I think we killed off another 10 Mortek Guard into that Gotrek. And these 2 ogres were heading this way just to see what they could do. But at this point, they've lost just about everything. They have 10 Mortek left. 2 ogres, and 2 small support heroes. So at that point, the game was over. They scored 0 on their turn, and that's when we called it. So it was a good game. I mean, they put up a fight. They sent a lot at us in that middle, and then took this Gotrek down to just a couple of wounds left. So it was pretty good. If they'd gotten a double turn, maybe they could have finished Gotrek off with those 2 ogres. But they obviously weren't going to win this one. It was a bad plan for them to roll into 2 Gotreks. Anytime you get one that can, it requires a hero to capture it, and you don't have real good heroes, or you go up against somebody with unkillable heroes, it's going to be a tough matchup. So, but I appreciate Jody and Jeremiah. They were good. They were good sports about it. We had a lot of fun. They had beautiful armies, little ogres, and those Bone Reapers were very nicely painted. So it was a fun one to play. Good game, guys. On to game 3. Game 3. This is versus Zach and Gavin. Zach Kennedy is the one who I've lost to at other grand tournaments playing Fyreslayers. Real good player, real smart. For some reason, I played him last time in game 3. I always make dumb mistakes against his army. So I don't know why. But this one, make some dumb mistakes on this one. Maybe it's just that it's game 3, getting tired, played too many games. But, all right, into it. So we're playing a game type called Ebb and Flow. I'm not sure where this came from. It may have just been a home brew, a homemade game type for the Texas Masters. But you can see it here and up in the top right corner. It's got that funky deployment, but it does have 6 objectives. 1, 2, 3, 4... And 1, 5, 6. So 6 objectives. 2 of them you can pretty much capture from setup. It's like just right there on the line. And then 1's outside your deployment. So this is the game type that I probably should have run the 70 Skinks in. And then just 1 Gotrek. But what we're facing is a Slann or a Seraphon list. And he has one version that has Gotrek. And then another that's just like a heavy... summoning list. And then his teammate is playing all Hearthguard Berserkers. So that's not going to be good. So Hearthguard Berserkers are terrible. I mean, they're really good, but they're hard to fight against. And they do a command point, and they get to fight first, and will kill everything that they touch. So I faced them before. They're never fun. So it's a good team composition. They are the ones that ended up winning the entire thing. But they've got their Slann that's just going to be summoning a whole bunch of stuff. And then they got their 2 big blocks of 20 Hearthguard Berserkers and 15 Hearthguard Berserkers that are just going up the middle to whatever objectives they need to. So they did have a Gotrek in one of their alternate lists, but they didn't choose them for this one because they're smart. 6 objectives. You've already got your power bubbles here with these Berserkers. You need support heroes, you need bodies to keep on your objective and zone out. That's what we should have done with our 70 Skinks and Razordons. That would have been a whole lot more useful. But we had committed to going double Gotrek the entire time. So that's what we're doing. So you can see his list here. He chose this one over here. Slann, Astral Bear, Skink Star Priest, Knight and Cantor. So he's got 4 heroes over there. And he's got the Comet. So I saw the Comet. They have Cogs, they have Bellwind. They're going to be casting a lot. And in my head, and I even told Chris, I was like, okay, we got to make sure and put our guy who's casting Cogs outside of 30 of his Incanter, so make that our last drop. And what do we do? For some reason, we put him inside 30, so he could automatically unbind Cogs. Dirt. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, we got to make sure our guys are outside of the 36-inch range of the Comet. Okay? Let's make sure to do that. And I think even Chris was like, okay, let's set up our heroes back here. And I'm like, no, let's put them over here so we can get guys on the objective. Just because I wasn't thinking. So, yeah. As you can probably tell from my reaction here, this one does not go well. So let's get on to the... let's pull that back up. Where was that? Ebb and flow. There we go. Okay, so onto the pictures here. So our deployment, they let us go first. Or maybe we chose to go first. I don't recall. Either way, we went first. And so I kind of like going first, especially on the ones that have objectives open. Just because when you're going first, I mean, you statistically have a better chance to go first in the next round too because you win ties. But you also get a chance to teleport and grab objectives. So we grab this one. We get our Gotrek and 2 screens on this one. We get this Gotrek beside that building there with the thralls. And then I have my Slann and the rest of the Skinks over here. We summon in some more Skinks. And then the Tidecaster is like behind this building over here. So, I mean, he's out of range, but we set him up right inside 30 of his Incanter because we weren't thinking. He's got a block of 15 Hearthguard Berserkers here and a block of 20 over here. So I know we're going to have to answer with these. And then hopefully this Gotrek can run up to this objective or this one, depending on where we need him, in turn 2. So that's the plan. So in our first turn, we do score 4 points. There's Surfboard Gotrek, and then Seraphon Gotrek with some screens. Scoreboard. Oh, in their first turn, there's his Slann on the Balewind. He's zoning out big time back on his side. Like he's got everything perfectly placed 9 inches because our hidden objective was just to get something into his zone by the end of the game. So he's playing the long game there, just summoning stuff back there. The Comet hits my Slann, hits everybody. I moved my Slann up onto this tower just to make sure that he couldn't get to us. But the Comet, so in my first turn, I summoned some stuff onto this objective, okay? Or I've got Skinks over here. Why not pull my Slann back over here out of the way? Or get our guys out of this death bubble that's going to be the Comet. We know it's coming down. I just weren't thinking. We kept our 2 heroes, our 2 wizards, grouped up together. That was real dumb. So then his Hearthguard, they make a move in, and they actually make the charge. They're able to move pretty good. I guess, can they run and charge or something? I don't know. Somehow they were able to move pretty fast and get this charge in. So they're coming towards those Skinks. You can see they've shot off a couple Skinks over here, just enough to make sure that they can score this without having to charge in. They were honestly just trying to keep as far a distance from this Gotrek as possible, which is smart. They summon in stuff back here. They've got cogs out. And this group is coming in hard here. So, you'll see here's where the battle commences. They send in these Hearthguard. And the Hearthguard basically wipe out the Skinks and the Thralls in this activation. And they get in a couple of good shots on the Gotrek. Actually, I think they were able to pile in like 1 or 2 or something over this way. And able to hit over the top of these Skinks. And here's where Gotrek failed me. Big time. In this game, every single roll I made for him, he failed those saves. So these Hearthguard are tough, but they're 2 damage each. They do 2 mortals, but Gotrek reduces that all to 1. Okay? I don't think they have Rend, so he's got a 4-up, 3-up. And I'm telling you, I was failing every single save with Gotrek. The mortal saves, he was failing those. It was bad. So they kill all my screens. I think I kill off 10 Hearthguard Berserkers with 2 activations. So it's pretty good. I mean, it's hard to kill those guys. They have a good aftersave. They have a good save to begin with, but they have a great aftersave. But now they've scored this objective. So they're going to score all 3 of theirs and score 1 of ours. So we're tied up right now. And we roll off. And we get the turn. So we get the priority, which is good. So if I can just finish killing off these Hearthguard, we'll be on our way to... It'll be a tie game. We'll get this back. And then we can just push with our Gotreks on the objectives. And we'll be fine. Okay? We'll be fine. So, Chris's Gotrek is going to head over here. And he's got run and charge. So he runs. He maxes that run. And if we could have gotten Cogs out, he could have easily made this charge into these guys, finished that group off, and then turn 3 started heading that way. Unfortunately, I don't know what we were thinking here, or what I was thinking. But so I've got a Slann and the Tidecaster over here. For some reason, I'll never know why, I decided we should need to unbind the Comet. That was dumb. Because we unbound the Comet, and we did it. But he's just going to cast it in his turn. It's not even... We got the double turn. They're going to have another turn. Just get away from the Comet. There's no reason. He's not putting any pressure on this objective right now. All his guys are here. He's got to keep his Skinks here. He can teleport some Skinks over there, but I've got enough Skinks over there. I should have gotten my Slann out of dodge. Send him over here. Put him behind here where he's not touched. So, one bonehead move. I dispel the Comet so he can do it again. And then on my teleports, I teleport my Slann to do something. I don't even know what. And then, I teleport my Slann over here. I had a brilliant move. Okay, this was a good move though. I teleported my Slann over here. Used the command ability to give these Skinks that were on this objective fly. And then I should have teleported my Slann back over here. I teleported him back where the Comet was going to land again. That was dumb. But this was a brilliant move, because if I got a 5 or a 6 on the run, I was going to be able to get in enough range to take this objective as long as I killed off a couple of Skinks over here. I needed to kill off, I think it was 5 or something. So if I could kill off some Skinks there using all these Skinks, then I could score that objective. Fortunately, that didn't work. I rolled a 4, so I was only able to get some of them in. So now I'd need to clear that Skink. So that wasn't going to work. So we ended up just putting these shots on this guy. But the biggest mistake was just putting my Slann back over here. I mean, I wanted to hang on to that objective, but I needed to keep my Slann alive. Just keep him over here or something. We didn't get Cogs off. Then his Gotrek failed 2 charges from here to there. So now it was up to my Gotrek. Well, of course, the Hearthguard Berserker can fight first, using a command point. Chris's Gotrek would have been able to fight at the start of the combat phase. So he could have probably taken those guys out if he had made that charge, but failed 2 charges there. So he's going to fight first, and his Hearthguards surround me. They get maximum damage on me. And I only had 4 wounds left at this point, and I fail literally every save for Gotrek. It was everyone. It was I think it came down to I had 2 left to make, and as long as I didn't fail 2 3-ups, I'd be fine, and rolled 2 1s. So I had used my command point to make those Skinks run, so I couldn't use it to reroll save rolls of 1. Of course, I think it was the mortals that killed him. But so he died. So that means our Gotrek is dead. That one. The other Gotrek is stuck in no man's land, and so that's the end of our turn. And here's what the board looks like. So in their turn, they hold this one, they hold their 3, and our Gotrek is just kind of stuck here in no man's land. So he's gonna take his Hearthguard that way and just start clearing our guys. So they recast Comet back into the same bubble of our heroes. And at this point, I think they're down to just 1 wound left, our Slann and Tidecaster. So on the turnaround on the turn, they're going to die regardless. We will lose them between rounds 2 and 3, no matter what happens. So this Gotrek in turn 3 literally can't get to either one of those, so he can't do anything. These guys are just stuck back here. I'm running out of Skinks. They're gonna lose to this. These Hearthguard are just gonna wipe everything, and so at that point we call the game. So I think that may be the last picture. Yeah. So we called the game at that point. It was a good game. I made a lot of mistakes on that one. Just wasn't thinking right. But really, it came down to if that Gotrek hadn't failed every single save, he would have activated twice. He would have killed the rest of those Hearthguard. And then this board would have looked a lot different. You know, their turn, they would have had to... probably could have taken this one from us, maybe, with those teleporting in some Skinks. I can't remember exactly where. I think my Gotrek was right on it, so they probably wouldn't have been able to get him on it. And then in the next turn, we could have pressed our Gotrek to one of those, and would have had a better shot. Still may not have won just because we got our heroes killed being dumb, but at least we would have taken out those Hearthguard. So I think it came down to those two failed charges from his Gotrek going over here, and then my Gotrek failing every single save. So it was a good game. We did lose this one, so we ended the day 2-1. I lost again to Zach Kennedy, so I'll be looking for him in 2020. Hopefully, sometime this year we can get matched up again in the Grand Tournament, and maybe once Seraphon gets their update, I can somehow get around the fight first. I don't know. Who knows? Activation War stuff. Good game though. Game 3 did come down to a major loss for us, and they got a max points on us. So good game. On to game 4. Game 4, we're playing on Escalation. we had gotten the list. We got our matchups the night before, but we didn't know what the battle plan was. And so I had been looking at this list, and I was a little worried about it because it's OBR and Skaven. The Skaven list is the one that had me worried because we either had these 12 Warplock Jezzails, or we had 60 Acolytes to deal with. And the one way to take down Gotrek is just to shoot them a lot. And that's one way to do it. So the Jezzails, I figured we could probably work our way around those Jezzails. They do a lot of damage, but Gotrek will reduce them down to 1. So, I mean, the max, even if they get them all through, it's just going to be 12 saves. So he should statistically survive, 1 or 2 rounds of that. And then they'd have to start working on the other one. The one I was the most worried about were these 60 Acolytes and 3 Storm Fiends. Ooh, that one would be brutal. So we're playing Dylan and Kyle in this one. And they had Bone Reapers. Here were their 2 different lists. This one had a bunch of Mortek Guard in it and the Harvester. This one had a Liege Cavalos, who was like on a 2-up, re-rolling 1s most of the game. 10 Mortek Guard, and then these 6 Stalkers, which, I didn't really know too much about them other than they look awesome. These, these dual-wielding Stalker dudes. But they actually put out quite a few attacks. So when we got into combat with them, they had a decent chance to take out, to put some wounds on Gotrek, because that's what you need, just a whole bunch of attacks. So he did go with this second list, the one that had the 20 Mortek Guard and 6 Stalkers, and then the Skaven went with the 60 Skyer Acolytes. So on Escalation, you have to kind of line up staggered, your battle line up front, your heroes, and then your behemoths in the back. None of us really had any behemoths, so we were all kind of lining up in that kind of formation like that. So let's get to the pictures here. So here's I didn't get a picture of us when we first started, but we outdropped it. No, we had the same number of drops, but they rolled off and made us go first, I think. So we teleported some Skinks, and I'm really just trying to create some choke points here. We got a boat over here that's giving a little bit of space in between here, and then a boat over here just to create another choke point. They put their big tower here in the middle, and so we teleport some Skinks here and here. just to try to keep them at bay as long as we can. Those Mortek Guard are coming in, and you can see this, the Acolytes here, Storm Fiends, Stalkers, and they have a Gnaw Hole back here, which I'm gonna just keep Skinks around that the entire game. One over here on this far kind of objective, and then you can see another one right here. So that was kind of set up. We run our Gotrek forward here, and I run this one towards this objective. It's going to take him a little bit longer just based on where we were, but we knew we weren't going to be able to get over to this one, so we're just going to leave that one alone. Not even going to touch it all game. We're just going to do the strategy of trying to capture these two objectives and hold them the entire game. That was the plan. So his Gotrek goes middle, and we get some thralls over here just because they'll have to be shot by these guys and these guys since they're the closest one. That's one of Idoneth's traits is you have to shoot the closest Idoneth. So that'll be helpful for him. So in our first turn, this one you don't score any until turn 2. So we're just there to get bodies on it. That's kind of what we did. In his turn, he's able to get the Mortek Guard into those Skinks, and somehow those Skinks survive. They had some pretty good rolls there, and then the Battle Shock roll was good too. So they ended up surviving. I think that may have been all that happened. I think he ran up some Skyr Acolytes, but I don't think they got in range of anything on that turn. I think he took off some Thralls over on this left side with those Acolytes, and these ones may have hit into... Oh, they hit this unit of Skinks here. So that unit of Skinks is gone. So they just had to blow those guys up. And that was good because, you know, they can run and shoot at the same time. So I was trying to just keep them pinned in. I knew the furthest they could go was 6 inches. And then they could shoot the Skinks or something else. But they're not going to start clearing the board. You see our heroes. Hey, we learned this time. We hid them out of range of everything. I don't think we got cogs off on this one. I may have gone off on the second turn, maybe. Oh yeah, I did, because I think on our second turn we had some good stuff happen there. So they do get the double turn on us, which that was one of the things I was worried about. Getting double turned by 60 Acolytes is going to be disgusting, and they're in range. But I think after this turn we still had Thralls alive, so they did get the double turn. Let's see if I got a picture or something for that. Okay, so there's the end of turn 1. They get the double turn, and stuff starts getting nasty in the middle. But the good thing about Idoneth is that if he's going to shoot Idoneth, he has to shoot these Thralls. And so he's wasting time shooting these Thralls when he wanted to hit Gotrek or my Gotrek that was over on that right side. But his Acolytes just weren't in range. He could have run them over there, but I think he wanted to try to just focus on this middle objective and put as much hurt on this middle objective and this Gotrek as possible. He had debuffed him in his first turn with the Obelisk, but it didn't go off on the next one. It's like, you know, a 2-up and the guy can't run or something like that, and has to charge with 1 dice. And of course, you know, anytime you have a 2-up 1 dice roll, it fails whenever you need it to. So he did put some hurt on this Gotrek. I think it may not have been this turn. Maybe he cleared these Thralls with something. I don't remember. He ended up putting some hurt on him at some point. But come on. All right. So their turn. Luckily, those 3 Skinks kind of kept them at bay to some extent. So that was kind of nice. Ooh, in our turn, so this must be into our turn. So in our turn, let's talk about what happened in turn 2. In turn 2, I think is the really, really brutal turn that we had. So those Skinks obviously got killed in their combat phase, but in ours, he was able to make a super easy charge into those Mortek Guard. Brought in some extra Thrall. You can see those Acolytes coming in from up here. But those Stalkers, that's what our main target is going to be. We're gonna try to take out these Mortek and then work on those guys. Let's see what the next picture is. So he's able to clear those in his turn. He can fight first, so his thralls take out some stuff. He takes out those guys. Let's see where we're at. Turn 2, I guess I'm just moving up my Gotrek a little bit. I'm summoning in some more stuff, moving them up in case we don't get the double turn. I keep him within Lookout Sir because I know we're going to get shot by those acolytes if we do. Chris is able to take out with his Gotrek. He's able to take out these Mortek Guard pretty easy. Obviously, it was just 10 of them. He took them out, cleaned that up, and then it goes to roll off. And this roll off we knew was going to be important because if they want it, they're gonna put a lot of shots into Chris's Gotrek. I still wasn't worried that we were going to lose yet, but it was getting hairy because if they got that turn, we might lose this Gotrek. They'll put a lot of shots from these acolytes into these thralls, take them out first, and then the rest of these acolytes are going to shoot Gotrek, which 30 shots is a lot. These stalkers would get into them; it would be pretty nasty. So, luckily, we won the roll off from 2 to 3. So we got that turn, and he didn't really even have to move much to get his Gotrek in here. We got cogs off. Oh, you can see I've already destroyed some acolytes because what happened is I had changed my spell in our first turn. The Slann at the end of his hero phase, he can change his spell to one that's like a horde busting spell. So in our last 2 turns, I had been teleporting the Slann like over here somewhere and blowing up this horde, just working it down slowly. And my Gotrek, thanks to cogs, is able to get into this little group here to where only one stalker can get to my guy, to Gotrek, and I'm able to get to both of his units. So it was a pretty awesome charge there. This Gotrek is going to just end up here in this corner. We're going to try to work down the rest of these OBR, get rid of them. Oh, ooh, look at what all disappeared. Yikes. That was dramatic. All those stalkers, all those acolytes, poof! 2 Gotreks into anything, and they're gone. This Gotrek took 1 wound from the stalkers. That was it. All 30 acolytes gone, 6 stalkers gone, and now he's looking at his support hero, and then the Kavalos guy is staring down Gotrek. You can see up here the thralls were into those acolytes, so they were just a couple thralls left, and then we teleported some skinks over here just to make sure we grabbed this because they did have a couple of bodies of acolytes over there capturing that objective. So we were able to score it back this turn. In their turn, we knew not much was going to happen. These acolytes and these storm fiends are all in combat with these thralls now. There's just a couple of them left, and they're going to have to end up shooting them. So I think the acolytes cleared these guys in their turn. Well, we'll probably get to that here in a second. So there's the end of our turn. Got some more skinks up. Slann is over here. We got this objective and this objective, and things are looking pretty. Things are looking pretty now. So you can see, it was their turn, but they had both those guys in combat. And at this point, I think they kind of knew it was over. Personally, I probably would have retreated those 2 guys and gotten out of dodge, but they stayed in and we're going to try to put some wounds. I think he thought that Kavalos dude might have a chance because I think he has a mortal wound save, and he had a 2-up rerolling wands or rerolling everything or something. So that's about as tough as you can get. It kept my Gotrek out of combat, but Chris, I think, just rolled his Gotrek for mortals, just trying to get all the mortal wounds, and was able to take him down. It was close. I think it was pretty close. Those thralls were gone, but it took to the shooting phase, so they didn't get any extra bodies in here. And then it came down to roll down. I put the scores up here. I keep forgetting to show those up there. So they get the double turn there from 3 to 4. And so there's the scoreboard. They're able to move their acolytes in and score that objective. So it's staying close. The game is close. We keep trading that middle objective. They put as many wounds on Gotrek as they can. I mean, they shoot him a lot, but he's saving stuff like crazy this game. So he survives. I think they took out, they may have put some hurt on these Skinks or something, just trying to get some bodies, but they were pouring as much as they could into that Idoneth Gotrek to as little as it did. I mean, he's down 4 wounds, so getting 4 wounds on Gotrek isn't too shabby. There's our turn. Gotrek comes in there and finishes off those acolytes that were in here. We got some Skinks coming in, just trying to clog up things, just to make sure that those Storm Fiends can't do anything. And in our turn, at this point, I don't even think it really mattered who won that roll-off, because the way that boat was positioned, it's 1 inch away from the terrain. And so those Storm Fiends aren't even going to be able to get through. They were going to have to run around or run up and over the boat, and there was no real place to land. And it was, I don't even think they were going to be able to do anything. Of course, then they'd have to run straight into Gotrek. And I think my Gotrek was in here too now, so it wasn't going well. That first, they weren't able to capitalize on that first double turn they had from 1 to 2. They just weren't quite in range. We kind of had them screened out, and our Gotrek was a little bit too far away. And then our double turn from 2 to 3 just wiped the board, basically. And so I think if they, I don't know. In retrospect, they might have wanted to give away the turn priority from 1 to 2, just so we moved more stuff in range, and then hoped for a double from 2 to 3 to just spam those acolytes. I think that may have been what I would do if we were playing it over and I were them. So give away turn priority in 2, because you didn't have anything in range. And our Gotrek was behind screens, so I don't think we could have gotten into you. Yeah, that probably would have been smart. But hey, it was a good game. It was tight. I was worried about all those acolytes. If they could have gotten in shots, that's one way to kill Gotrek. 60 shots with Rend. Now, we kind of take away a lot of their damage because it reduces them to 1. But you can kill Gotrek with 60 shots. So, good game. It was tight. It was close all the way to the end. And I think that one turn we had where we just basically wiped off all of OBR, and that was the game right there. They had one unit of Mortek Guard over here on this left objective, and they pretty much just stayed over there the entire game, holding that one. He knew he couldn't move off of it, or Skinks would get it. So he had to devote those to that one objective the whole game. But real good game from Dylan and Kyle. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of models being removed, and it was a good game. So far we're 3-1 going into our last game, and we'll see how that goes. Game 5, we're playing on a battle plan called Sorceress Streams. I'm not sure where this one came from. This may have been another custom made one, or maybe it's from some book. I don't know. I've never played it before, but the unique thing about it, you can see the layout up here. The unique thing about it is whoever goes second. So, okay. It's kind of confusing. When you do turn priority, whoever goes second gets to remove one objective from the board. So, like in turn 2, when you roll off for priority, somebody wins it, they decide to go first. Whoever goes second gets to remove an objective from the table. So it makes for some very interesting stuff. Like, you don't always want to take turn priority because you want to remove the other dude's objective. But if you really need a double turn to take out some guys, you're going to lose an objective probably, because they're going to take away whichever one you have bunkered up. So it causes some interesting strategy. We practiced this one a couple times at home before the tournament, and it's actually a lot of fun. It creates a pretty cool dynamic of that turn priority roll. So I personally really enjoy the battle plan. It's definitely interesting. Makes you think hard about that turn priority, and I don't think you should ever concede this game type early, because a lot of stuff can change with those objectives removing. So here's our list. We were playing against Alan and Evan. You can see they were Maw Tribes and Khorne. So this list here, you can see Evan's list. It's basically just 3 Stonehorns. It'd been doing real good for him all tournament. They were also 3-1, I believe. So they were looking to go 4-1 here. And his other list was just, I think it was the same thing, just without the Ethereal Amulet, just a different artifacts and stuff. Alan's list was Khorne, and one list you can see here's it's continued on this other side. He had 18 Blood Crushers in one list, which is crazy. Apparently that had been just like rolling over people, because they'd be getting these 3 Stonehorns and 18 Blood Crushers into you pretty quick. Ouch, that would hurt. In this one, he ended up taking the second list, his alternate list, which is a Bloodthirster, Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster. He still had 6 Blood Crushers, Karnak, and some Fleshhounds. So I think they did that just so they could cover some more objectives or something. And they also had pretty low drops, because they had this battalion, and then he only had 3 drops over here. So they actually had pretty low drops and some decent maneuverability. This guy would fly. Those Stonehorns are real quick and pretty nasty. So, we talked to him later. He said part of the reason he chose this list is just because the terrain on this table was so busy that he wasn't sure he was going to be able to get 18 Blood Crushers through stuff. And I think that was probably pretty correct, because you can see, and we'll pull up some pictures here. The table was very busy with his terrain and our terrain and all that kind of stuff setting in there. You can see it gets pretty busy on this table. We kind of create some choke points here, just this big wall here, and he's got his Mage Wraith throne or whatever, I don't know, some kind of throne, Khorne throne there, and his Maw Pot back here. We got terrain all over this place. They line up with his 1 Stonehorn and some dogs going towards these 2 objectives. He's got some guys on this one, this flying guy, so he can come over, press the middle. Stonehorn and Blood Crushers over on this side to swing around this building and hit these objectives. So that's the battle plan. They outdropped us, but they gave us turn 1. I'm not exactly sure why, because anytime you give me turn 1, I'm going to score your objectives. So I've got 2 teleports. I'm gonna get Skinks on your objectives immediately, and so that's what we do. 9 away from this guy gets him, right in here somewhere, and so yeah, sure, we'll take turn 1. So we take turn 1. We score 5 points. We get our teleports in. You can see our teleports there. 2 teleports. I think I got a good run on these Skinks. And got them. No, that was a teleport. Teleport over here, teleport over here. I couldn't fit one in here. And then we capture our other objectives. So we had 5 points. Goes to their turn. They are keeping these guys back a little bit, the Stonehorns, which was actually not a bad strategy. He's keeping them just barely outside of, or barely inside of 6 of this objective, so that he can score it with the bulk of those Stonehorns, because they count as 10 wounds, or 10 models. And so he gets that and a little dog on it, and he's got it for my Skinks. But what that does is that increases the distance Gotrek's got to go to get to those guys. So it's actually a pretty good strategy. Back when I played Beastclaw, it was always just like, I'm going to smash. These guys are he's been more tactical with it. So it was a good game. So they take this objective back. I think I pulled my Skinks this way, and he took out a couple Skinks over here. Shot a couple with the Bloodthirster, and that may have been all that happened in that turn. They were kind of waiting to see what we were going to do with our Gotreks. You can see the Idoneth Gotrek over here, that Gotrek over here, and then my plan is just to summon as much trash as I can here in the middle, just to keep stuff going. So into their turn, they get their 3. And then they double turn us on that one. So they get the double turn. And actually, no, we won turn priority. And this is where that difficult decision comes in. Do you get double turned, which we're going to lose a lot of stuff. I might even lose my Slann if I'm not careful. Or do we take the turn priority and lose one of our objectives? And it was just like, our Gotreks are too slow. If we lose an objective, we're not going to capture anything. So we took away their one in the middle. That was like in here. We took away that objective and gave them the turn. They hooked that Stonehorn since he's just sitting over there now. They hook him down this way. They're bringing this. They're killing all the thralls, but keeping out of range of Gotrek. I pulled my Skinks back. His Bloodthirster kills a bunch of Skinks. I Ragged Cloak my Slann so he can't be shot that turn, otherwise he might have taken some mortals. But they score this objective and they score this objective. They get enough bodies over here. Their Blood Crushers are coming down this way. They take out all the Skinks. They take out the Skinks there, so they get that objective, and they're one back here. So they get 4 points that turn. And then into our turn. Let's see what kind of pictures we got. Yeah, so 4 points there. In our turn, we kind of bring our guys back. My Slann, this time, hey, get your Slann out of danger. I get him back, and I'm just summoning stuff in now just so that Bloodthirster can't get to us. So he's got to go through that much stuff. And we're going to ship the Gotrek up that way. And then this Gotrek, I measured, and he can go into these guys here, those 6 Blood Crushers. If somehow he could take out those 6 Blood Crushers, then he could pile in to that Stonehorn and try to activate against that Stonehorn. So that was the plan. So let's see what pictures we got. Oh no. Yeah. So his Gotrek makes the charge over here. It's turn 2. Oop. It's turn 2, so he makes that charge. Oh, we have cogs out. He makes that charge, and I think it takes 2 activations to kill that Stonehorn for some reason. I think he may have just rolled really poorly or something, or the after saves. He was hoping to clear those dogs too, but I think it took both activations, to kill that Stonehorn. Over here, unfortunately, it took both my activations to kill those 6 Blood Crushers. I was hoping to do it in one. It might have been possible. I'm not sure. I had to do the math, but it took both my activations to do that, so I wasn't able to kill him. But I am within 3, which means he can't pile in because it's 1 inch. That boat's 1 inch away from that building. He can't pile through it. 3 inches will only take him like slightly up this or something, and so he's basically stuck. He can't pile in. We get the double turn, and this time I think we got turn priority, and I think we chose to take it, or maybe they gave it to us. I don't recall. I should have probably written that down. But there's a scoreboard. So we get the turn. They may have deleted one of our objectives. I think it was this one over here on this far side, maybe. They deleted. And that was fine, because we're going to push up towards this one anyway. So in this turn, this Gotrek, my plan is just to take out that Stonehorn. I'm going to work on him. I think I may have brought some... Did I get this objective back? I think I brought some... No, I didn't get any Skinks over there. I think I had to use my teleport. I teleported my Slann over here and some Skinks. And we're going to try to swarm this objective. So he uses his Blood Tithe points in his turn to pile in those Khorne dogs into Gotrek. And so what happens there is that Gotrek can't attack this Frostlord now. And so he's tied down for those. So I'm bringing as many Skinks as I can over here. I'm going to try to kill those Khorne dogs. And then in my movement phase, I summon in 2 Razordons over here to try to put some damage. But no matter what I do, I couldn't kill those Khorne dogs. I think I got them down to like 2 or 3 left, maybe 4. It looks like maybe 3. Wasn't able to clear him because I wanted Gotrek to be able to charge over here to get into that Frost Lord. We weren't able to do that. I kind of created a couple extra screens here to where if his Khorne Bloodthirster piled in, he couldn't get both of them. Now, I didn't count on him getting a really good charge, and I think when he, in his turn, I think he was able to charge in here, but that's in a minute. So in this turn, he can't pile in with the Stonehorn, so I'm going to attack with my guy last. We're able to clear those corn dogs finally, but it took just about everything we had. I charged in the Razordons, I charged in these Skinks, I charged in these Skinks. Everybody made those 9-inch charges, partly because we had this cogs flipped the other way. So we were able to get plenty of bodies to score this objective because we knew we needed to have more than 10, and then he had those 4 corn dogs. So we knew we needed some bodies on it, and so that was able to score us that one. My Gotrek over here killed that Stonehorn. See what we got. Yep, corn dogs are gone, Stonehorn's gone, and then my Gotrek was actually within 6 of this objective over here, and so by like 1 millimeter we had to measure it, and he was able to score that objective. We weren't able to score this one because that little dog there has it, and my Gotrek actually did take 2 wounds from his Stonehorn when he was able to attack back. I didn't kill them all in the first turn there. So we were able to score 3. So we were up, 10-7 going into their turn. I think they had a decent chance here. He was able to get in some corn dogs here on their turn. And his Frost Lord, he brought him in. He kept outside of range of that Gotrek. But here was their dilemma, okay? They had this Bloodthirster here who they wanted to go first. Because he had 2 units of Skinks, and he wanted to kill both of those Skinks because I was just going to retreat one of them otherwise. Over here, he had a big unit of Skinks. So they needed to clear that unit of Skinks or these 2 units of Skinks. They had to choose one, and the other one I'm going to Weary Fighter. And so I think they chose over here, and somehow that Bloodthirster did not kill both units of Skinks in that turn. You can see 4 of them left here, and I think I had 2 that were in range of that, so I kept them there. And these 4 here survived. Like, how? That was 2 activations from that Bloodthirster, and he couldn't kill 20 Skinks. So that was beautiful. One of those things where, like, you know, the guy, that Bloodthirster should be able to clear that, and he just wasn't able to. So after that Bloodthirster's activation, I just pulled these Skinks back this way, and now he was going to have to pile in this way if he wanted anything and go into Gotrek, and he wasn't willing to do that. So corn dogs, I think they didn't take out any more Skinks here, so we had enough bodies, just barely, to hold on to that objective. And I think they scored 2 that turn. So there's our scoreboard. So now here's the weird thing, though. So look at this board. So we had this objective was still here. This objective was still here. This objective was still here. Okay? So there's 3 objectives. We've burned 2. So this one, I think, was still here. So we burned this one. And we burned this one. So going into the next turn, we're going to burn another objective. There's still 3 objectives. They're only down 1 point. But for some reason, they conceded. I think it was because they knew, regardless of what happened here, they had cleared out the screen here. There were some Razordons here that he ended up killing. And Gotrek wasn't able to pile in. But he's going to have to come into here. If they get the turn, he's going to have to come into here and take on Gotrek. He'll lose there. My Gotrek is going to score one of these 2. So he can't do much there. This guy's stuck in combat, so he can't score this one. So they were just kind of looking at a difficult situation of, we've got to fight 2 Gotreks in the next round regardless. And I think when they saw that, they just said, we're good. Because I think if they had taken the turn, probably the one we would have burned would have probably. I probably would have burned. I don't know which one we would have burned. Maybe this one because just his Bloodthirster's there because we just don't care about his Bloodthirster and just work on these two. But if they had taken the turn, I would imagine, or if we had burned one, I don't know. It was a tough decision, man. But they decided to concede it. I wasn't going to push it. We shook hands and won our fourth game. Won our fourth game. Went 4-1. It was one of those ones where I think if we would have played it out, I think we still would have won, but it would have been close, and so they decided to go ahead and call it. We still had 2 Gotreks. They hadn't really taken many wounds. I still had the Slann up and moving around. He might have come back here to try to kill the Slann, but then he would have left the objective. So I think he was going to have to go into Gotrek, and he's ethereal, so he would have held on for a little bit, but probably not long enough. So it was probably the right call. But kind of tough to concede it when this game type's kind of strange like this, and you can still remove objectives. But overall, really fun from Alan and Evan. We had a blast. It was a really good tactical game there that went down to the wire. So we ended up winning by 1 point there and won the game. So it was good. It was a lot of fun. So we ended up coming in second, as we stated earlier in the beginning, but we probably didn't win too many sports points. I don't know. I mean, it seemed like everybody was having a good time. I mean, we had a lot of good games. Everybody was fun to play. But, taking 2 Gotreks on the table at the same time, it was pretty rough. I imagine next year they'll probably say, you can't take duplicate unique heroes kind of thing. So we'll see. Overall, it was still a ton of fun. We did come in second. We did lose to Zach and Gavin and the Fyreslayer combo there when I failed every single save on Gotrek. No, it was a good game. We make dumb mistakes and roll badly, and no matter how many Gotreks you have on the table, you're still going to lose. But it was a lot of fun. You can see our overall kill points there. This is just from Gotrek, but it was a lot of fun. A great tournament put on by Matt Taylor and Texas Masters. I highly encourage you to try to make it to the next one next year and get in some of those Texas GTs that are happening this year. Hit up one of the major cities, go to one of those, or get in some local tournaments as well. But it was a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody that played us and put up with our 2 Gotrek shenanigans that we decided to pull this time. But thanks a lot. Have a good one.